And let me also start the recording. Here we go. So start. Okay, so we got Chetu, Prithvi, Suresh, and Vivek. Great. So how the practice going, everyone? Okay, good. Okay, and I saw that, Vivek, you have subscribed to the Telusko Pro channel. That's great. So lots of videos are on the way. So preparing lots of videos now. So all the video will be available on the Telusko Pro. Great. So, okay, we are live now, and the session is also getting recorded. Okay, so in the last session, we have started with AOP, right? We were talking about the AOP, how can we record those events. Now, what happens is, in the real life, when you talk about normal projects, we do lots of extra code, right? We have talked about concerns, we have talked about cross-cutting concerns. So the business logic is something which you have to focus on. Now, in this scenario, what we have done is we have created a simple boot application. I guess it is Spring AOP application. As you can see, this is Spring Boot AOP application. And we have also made sure that whenever you create this object, whenever you create this project, we have to also add one more dependency, which is Spring Boot AOP. Okay, I guess Suresh, your mic is on. Meeting you. Okay, so as you can see, we got this Spring Starter AOP. Now, this is Spring Boot AOP, which is used for aspect-oriented programming. Okay, so this is your aspect-oriented programming AOP, and okay, so let's get back here. What I'm doing here is I'm getting this application context object, and then we are trying to create object of laptop. Now, this is possible because I just made my laptop class as add component, right? This is the component of Spring. And then in this laptop, I just have a method which is called a show. And then I will say, okay, so I will just say lab.show. So this is what we tried last time, right? And then every time I call show, so every time I call show, what I want to do is I want to record this. I want to record this thing, which is log. Okay, so let me repeat what I want to do. So every time I call this method show, I want to maintain a log file which prints log recorded. This is what I want to do in this scenario. So how we can do that? How we can achieve this feature where you can maintain a log? Okay, so let's see how that is possible. Let me just do some setting. Okay, where's that? Where's that? Okay, hold on. Okay, so yeah, so what I want to do now is when I call this show method, I want to maintain a log file. So everyone remember, right? This is the last thing we have done, and this is the thing we have done in the last session. Chetu, Vivek, okay, Prithvi, okay, so everyone says yes. Okay, so what I do now is I want to call this log, and of course this will not work if I run this code. It will only call the show method. So if I say run as Spring Boot application, it's taking some time. Okay, you can see it prints in show, but it is not printing log recorded. Again, I'm just printing that statement. You can do the log part. You can use a log4j library, and you can do that. But then I just want to print it. The thing is, when I call show, I want to print that. How we can do that? It's actually very easy. I don't want to touch this code. This is my business logic. So I don't want to touch my code, but still, I want to make it work. The thing which you can do here is, first of all, if you want to make it work, you have to make sure that this is a Spring component. So I will say added component. So whenever you create an aspect, you have to make sure that you are making it as a component. The second thing is, this is not a simple component. It's a aspect. So what you have to also do is you have to say added aspect. So there's one more annotation which is called as add aspect. And as you can see, we got this dependency because we have added that. We got this annotation because we have added a dependency for AOP. We got aspect, we got component. Now what I want is, I want to execute this method log, but when? So here, if you remember, we have talked about the theory, right, where we have different types of advice. So Vivek, can you just list down those advice for me? Vivek, you there? Okay, so we got before, after, around, right? So basically we have these three advice, which is before, after, and around. Now, out of these three, the most used ones are before and after. Around is something which we don't normally use. We use before and after a lot. Now, what is before? So before the event, and after is after the event. Example, if you want to maintain a log file, of course you will maintain a log file before the execution, after the execution. If you want to maintain the transaction, you will do it before the execution, you will do after the execution, right? So we use before and after a lot. In after itself, we have three more. We have after returning, we have after finally, and we have after throwing. Remember? So we have before and after around. In after we have three, which is after returning, after throwing, and after finally. So I want to maintain this log, which is log recorded, or I will also print object or show called and log recorded. So I want to print show called and log recorded. So since I want to call this before the execution, I will simply use an annotation which is called as add before. So just with this annotation, you are making sure that this will be called before this. But you can see we are getting an exception here, or error. It says whenever you use a before, you have to also set a property here, or what you say, a value. Now it's a value. Now in this value, you have to mention when you want to execute this. So when you want to execute the log file. So we have to inform in English, whenever we call show method. So I want to call this. Whenever I call a show method, I want to execute this. And that's it. It is that simple. So in this double quotes, you have to mention this code and your job is done. We're getting some issue here, but let's not. Okay, it simply says that point cut is not well formed. So this point cut here is not well formed, but that's a different point. So we have to inform this way. So what do you think? Will it work? Of course not, right? As you can see, we are getting a warning as well. So what's an issue? How we can create a point cut here? Everyone there with me? Okay, so let me just delete this part. And the way you can write this is you have to use a specific syntax. This syntax is provided by Spring AOP, and it says you have to write execution, then a round bracket open and close. So the keyword we have to use here is execution, and then a round bracket open and close. In this, you have to mention the return type. So the first thing you have to mention is return types. I will say star. And the second thing you have to mention is the package name. Then you have to mention a class name. Then you have to mention a method name. Then you have to give a bracket and you have to mention the method name, or method parameters. Okay, now that's weird. That's what do you say? Scary, right, everyone? Okay, so let me repeat. This is your return type. So this star is return type. So just give me some time. I will let you know what is happening here. So the first star here represents a return type. The second star here, the second star dot dot represents the package name. Then this star here represents the class name. This star here represents the method name. And this dot dot here represents a parameter. Okay. Now just to simplify this, what I will do is I will remove this part and let's start with again. So I will just cut this part and let's keep it somewhere so that you can refer it later. So remember, we have to put a star, then a space, then a star, then dot dot star dot star bracket dot dot bracket. Okay. Now I have written that just to scare you, okay? It's not that difficult. What you will do is you have to mention the return type. Return type in this case, so the method which you are working with is show and the return type is void. So simply write void there, then a space. Then you have to mention the method name. The method name is show. Just give a bracket and your job is done. It's that simple. On the execution of void show, you have to call this method. Now, do you trust me? Will it work? Okay, let's run this code and let's see what happens. So if I run this code now, and can you see that? It says show called log recorded. And if you check this code, nowhere I'm calling that method. This method is getting called automatically just because of the syntax. So just because we have written added before, execution, void show, and our job is done. Simple, everyone? Okay, now let me just add some twist here. What I will do is, before continuing with this, okay, first of all, this is how AOP works, okay? AOP simply says that you don't have to change your business logic. You can write this code separately, and it will be executed automatically. And that's why we say these are cross-cutting concerns. We don't include this in a business logic. Okay, look at your business logic. It looks so clean. Nothing much. It is only the business logic. Whatever thing you have to do extra, like transaction security, you can do it separately in a separate class. You just have to make sure that we are using annotation, which is add aspect and add component. Okay. Now the twist is just some time ago I have talked about this, right? Which is this syntax. So what do you think? I was kidding, or is it really useful? That's that part. Okay, it is useful. So let's talk about this. Why I have written such a creepy statement here. Okay, that really looks weird, right? That's right, Vivek. That's wildcards. Okay, so Vivek, you are on top today. Vivek. So yeah, so these are wildcards. So let's try to implement this as well. So now just to implement that, what I will do is let me just expand our code. Now, instead of saying simply laptop, what I will do here is let me make some changes. And okay, hold on. Where is my lap? Where is my cursor? Okay, so in this laptop, I don't want show anymore. What I want here is, okay, what I want here is I want two properties. I will say private string brand, right? So we always talk about, when you talk about laptop, we always talk about brand. And the next thing I'm concerned about here is a price, right? So I will say, or maybe, yeah, let's go for price. We'll say, let's go for, not go for price, let's go for int. And let's say this is a review, right? So if I say a brand name, let's say if I say Dell, I will say okay. If I say Apple, I will say awesome. If I say, what else? If I say Acer, I will say bad. Okay, by no means I hate Acer. It's just that I just wanted to go for an example. I'm going for this thing. So we got brand and we got a review. Now once we got these two variables, let me just right click and say source, right clicks, getters and setters. Okay, so what I will do now is I want to get object of laptop. So again, we could have done directly here. We could have said laptop get laptop dot get class. Yeah, we can do that. So let's say we got this object, and let me assign some values. I will say lap dot set brand. I will set the brand as, okay, set the brand as Apple, and we'll set the message as, we'll say set review. It's a damn costly. Okay, so this, we got this set and get set review, set brand, and let me print all these values. So let me print both the values. I will say lap dot get brand, and we'll say system dot out dot println. I will say lap dot get review. Okay, so what I want now is whenever I call get brand, So I just want to go with this. So whenever I want to call get brand, in that case, I will call this method which is called as okay, I will call this method which is called as okay, which is that, which is this method which is called as log. So in that case, I cannot write, I cannot say string here. I cannot say void here. I have to say string. The method name is get brand. Okay, so okay, that's great. It also gives you the pointer here, and that's why Spring STS is awesome, right? It gives you that symbol. Okay, so let's run this code and let's see what happens, and it should work. There should not be an issue. As you can see, it does work. We got show called, and it is printing both the name brand and costly. Okay, so now what I will do is I want to create one more class. The same way we have laptop, I want to call. Okay, before that, as you can see, I'm saying get review. Now this method log will not be called for review, right? I want to call it for review as well. It's very simple. Instead of saying brand, just simply say star. So when I say get star, it will work for all different methods. It doesn't matter which method you're talking about, it will work for all the methods. So let's run this and let's see what happens. Okay, so it is printing show called, show called. Now we got show called 2 times because it is working for get brand and get review. One more time, we are not changing anything in the business logic. Everything is getting changed in my aspect. Okay, now let me just change one more thing. What I will say here is, I will say, let me get one more method here, which is called as get laptop. Or maybe some other class. Let me get another class here, which is, okay, let's not go for that. My question is, see, we have we have get string and we have get review. Luckily, both are string, right? What if the method which you are calling is not returning string, it is returning something else? So what you will do now? I want to accommodate all the methods, doesn't matter what they return. No, we have to use, yeah, that's right, Vivek, we have to use a star. So star means accept all different types. Right. Everyone getting a point, right? Aditya, okay, who's this? Aditya, Shobhi, Chaitu, Prithvi, and Suresh, Vivek. Yeah, the same like SQL. Oh, that's great. You are learning SQL now, Aditya. Great.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this star means return type. It doesn't matter what you return, it will accept everything. Now, just to add a twist, what if this get review has a parameter, let's say string s? Now, it doesn't matter. We will not be using we will not be using s. It's just that I just want to pass s. Now, of course, when you say get review, you have to pass some parameters. I will say something. Again, this doesn't make any sense here. Okay, this passing this something does not make any sense. But still, I want to call get review by passing some parameters. The problem here is, as you can see, we have this method which is not accepting anything. The moment you run this code now, let's say it is working for get review, and we got an error. It says, okay, now this is a weird error. Could not determine CG package. Cannot subclass final code. What's this? Why this error? Okay, is it because of that method return type or something? Okay, now to work with all the methods, it doesn't matter does it take multiple parameters or not. We'll simply say dot 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 means it can accept any number of parameters, and yeah, any number of parameters, any type of parameter. And let's run this code. Oh, this is not working. What's wrong here? Is it because of this method, which is get review passing a parameter? No. Okay, I got the point. The problem is the moment you say star, and when you say star here, you are increasing your scope so much that you are troubling the other classes also. See, I mean, it is right. I mean, see, think about this. When you say get, you are able to print everything from all the methods from all the packages, right? Yeah, that's right, Chetu. So what is happening is get star and star fetches, I mean, it will fetch the data from all the packages from everywhere. And Spring itself has some methods with the name get. And that's where the problem is starting. So we can be specific here. We can say, I want to fetch only from my packages. So my package is com.telusko.star.get. Okay, so I will say star.get. So it doesn't matter which package I'm working with. I mean, it doesn't matter which get method and what it returns. It should be from package com.telusko. And yeah, you can see it is working. The problem is the moment I say star and everywhere star, it is so this aspect will be called for all the get methods. And in Spring framework itself, we have some get methods. So it was applicable for all the methods, and that's what the issue was. What I did is I mentioned the package name, the base package, so that at least you will be working only with our package. Does it make sense, everyone? Okay. Now, sometimes errors does teach you something, right? Okay. So now, yeah, let's get back to that. I want to accept any number of parameters. So I will say dot dot, and in this, I will mention string str, and here when I pass something, I will say something. And now let's run this code. Let's see what happens. Okay. And as you can see, oh, it's not working 2 times. It is working only 1 time. What's wrong now? It should have worked 2 times. So for which method is working now? Is it working for? Okay. If I say star, oh, it is not even calling that. Oh, it is not calling Spring Boot. That's weird. I guess I have used a wrong thing here. I missed 1 dot, I guess. Yeah, I missed 1 dot there. That was the issue. Okay, and that's why you have to follow this wildcard. You can see that I have used a wildcard which is dot dot here. So that is this dot dot. But that dot dot represents, okay, is it dot dot on this side will work? Yeah, so package dot dot class dot get. And that's perfect. Yeah, awesome. Can you see that it is printing 2 times now, show called. So remember the syntax, we have to use 2 dots with the package. I guess 2 dot works before and after as well, with class also. Okay, so that's the wildcard. Okay, so remember this, it's easy to remember between the packages. So this means any package, this means the class, and this means the method name. Now you might be wondering why dot dot, because whenever you have a package, it might be having multiple dots, right? The way we have com.telusko.rdd, so you can have multiple packages. That's why we have 2 dots. Okay, this sounds good. So this is your add before. Now, can we use at after? So we can also do that. We can also use at after here. But then how we can do that? It's very easy. We will call this as before log. We will call this as before log, and the next method will be after log. So I will say show called log recorded. It should not be show. I will say get methods called, and now I want to go for after. So I will copy this code and let's do it for after. And here I will say @ after the execution of this. Then the method name I will go for is after log, and we'll say get methods executed and log recorded. We are getting exception in the after here. Let's import the package. Let's see if it is working for after as well. Let's go back here and let's say run. And okay, you can see now this is getting called. Okay, so as you can see, the first method, which is get brand, it says called and executed. And this is saying called and executed. Is it following the same sequence here? So when I call get brand, it will say, that's right. So it is executed and then it is printing apple. Now you might be thinking apple should be printed in between, right? Okay, so apple is executed before this, but then they're working with two different threads, and that's why it's printing this one. But don't worry, apple is getting printed before this one. So if you run this code, you got that output. Okay. Now the way we have here after, let me just do one more change here. Instead of saying after, let me say after throwing. So if I get some error, or maybe if I don't get any error, so it will call. Okay, which one? Okay, let me just make some changes. What I will do here is in this get laptop or get review, I will say int I equal to 10 divided by 0. What do you think? Will it give you error? This line will give you error. Right, so it will throw an exception, right? And now if I run this code, you can see we got the exception, but we also got get method executed and get method executed. That means even if you are getting the exception, this after is getting executed. Of course, this is a good thing, right? This is a good thing that we can use. We can execute this method even after getting error. But let's say if you want to execute the method, not all times it will execute every time. So even if you're getting the error, it will be called. So it doesn't matter if you're getting the exception or not. This method will be called. As you can see, it is printing executed. So irrespective of the error, if you're getting the error or not, this method will be called. This log will be called. Okay, Chetu? But let's say we have a scenario here where I don't want to execute this method. I mean, I don't want to execute a log. So I want to have a log. I will say public void success log. So this log will only maintain the successful execution, not everything. And of course, I don't want to record the errors here. I just want to record only if there was a successful execution. How we can do that here? So in that case, we have to use a special annotation. Any guess? Because after will be called at every situation. So after is behaving like a a finally block, and that's why this after, which is normal, is called as after finally. No, not after success, but then after returning. Remember, after has three types: after returning, after throwing, and after finally. So this is after returning, but that's a good guess, Chetu. In this, we have to say on the execution of, let's say, start from.telusko dot star dot get star, and in brackets when I say dot. Okay, at this point only I want to record, I will say success. I just want to print success. Otherwise, I don't want to print anything. But then why we are getting an error here? Okay, it says I'm missing a curly brackets here. Let's run this, and as you can see, we are not printing. Oh, it is printing success. Yeah, so we are printing success because of this method, which is get brand, because error is not there with get brand, right? So for time being, let me just skip get brand. And while skipping that, I have also closed the application. That's weird. Let me just open the. Let's run this. And as you can see, the success is not getting printed. Of course, right? Because we are printing success only when you are saying after returning. Now, if there's no error in the laptop, if I don't have any exception here, so of course the success will be executed. So success will be executed only when you are successfully returning the method. And this one, which is get method executed, it will be executed. Doesn't matter if you're getting the exception or not. So this means this is a finally block. Or finally after finally. Does it make sense, everyone? Suresh, Prithvi, Chetu, Shobhi. Okay, now question arises, what if we want to maintain the log only when you get the exception? Again, we don't handle the exception here using AOP, but then we log the exceptions. So let's say if you want to log an exception here, how we can do that? So what I'll do here, we will say after, guess which after you have to use here? Yes, exactly. So the next one is after throwing, and this is after throwing. You have to mention. Okay, let me just import the package first for after throwing. Okay, in this, let me just better define the method name as well, which is public void exception log. And in this, I will say on the execution of these methods, not here, but here. The package import done. On the execution of this, let's print. Okay, we'll say something went wrong. Okay, so now this statement will be executed only when you are getting an exception. So as you can see, I'm not throwing an exception here, and let's run this code. And since we don't have any exception, of course, you will not get any exception, and you can see we are not even getting printed. Something went wrong. So in the console, you can see it is not printing something went wrong. But let's make something wrong. I'll go back to laptop, and I will say let's get this exception now. And let's run this code. And now you can see it will not print success because you got the exception, but it is printing something went wrong. So that's how you can maintain different log files for different type of things. Does it make sense, everyone? So then it's a success scenario. No, this is not a success scenario, right? We are getting the exception here. Okay, you might be which success scenario? I didn't get here, Chetu. I meant, what if arithmetic exception is handled in the laptop class get remove method? Oh, what if the exception is handled? So if the exception is handled, I guess the log will not be maintained. Okay, but that's a good point. So we'll say try and catch. Say catch. But then when you are getting the exception here, you are already maintaining a log file here, right? Whenever you are maintaining a log file, which is system.out.println, will say error. Let's run this. And yeah, so you can see we have not got that something went wrong, but then we are already maintaining a log there. So when you use try catch, of course, we are handling the log by ourselves. Okay, great. Okay, now the point is, what if I want to know what went wrong? I mean, simply printing something went wrong will not be helpful, right? I also want to print what went wrong. Now, in that scenario, this after throw take multiple types. So what I will do is I will write this as point cut, because this is a point cut. I will say point cut equal to. So whatever we have written here, this is a point cut. Now I will give a comma, and I want to know what it throws. So I will say throws. Okay, what is that number? Is it throws? Yeah. So I will say throwing, and I will put that into ex. The same object I will use here. I will say exception ex, and let's print ex here. I will say ex. Now it will also print the message. So with something went wrong, I will say get message. Again, normally you should do that in a log file, okay? Not printing here. So this should be added into a log file. And now let's run this code. Let's see what happens. And as you can see, it is printing something went wrong with the message. So divide by 0. That's what is going wrong here. Okay, great. What about you, Prithvi? Prithvi, you there? I've not heard from you from a long time. And how about you, Shobhi, getting the point, right? And Prithvi, you're getting everything right here? Okay, great. So this sounds good. We got something here, and then we got everything seems good now. Okay, so we got before, we got after, we got after throwing. Oh, to get the path as well. Okay, I'm not sure about that. Let's try. Let me just check. I guess it is possible, but how? Let me just try. Okay, so in after, because I've tried that with around to get the path, not with before. Let's see if it is before. Suppose that. Okay, so we have a special class called join. It is join or okay, no, it's not join. It is proceeding join. Let's delete that. Proceeding join point. Let's create object of that as JP. Does it work in add before? Okay, it does work. Now let me just print JP as well. We'll say jp dot, do we have any method here which will give you the class? Get source location. Let's try with this. Never tried that before. Oh, we are getting error here. It says, okay, so persistent join point is only supported for around advice. It's not supported here. Yeah, actually I've used that with around. I've never used it with before. I guess with before we cannot do that, but let's try with around. So what I will do here, I will create, let me create one more thing here, which is called as around. I will say public void while executing. Okay, I will use an annotation here which is called as at around, or which is the advice. Now in this at around, let's use the same thing. Let's copy this thing here. Let's say copy and paste. And okay, this sounds good while executing. And okay, what else we can do? Okay, so in this we can pass that object, right, which we wanted to use, and that is your proceeding join point. So we'll say proceeding join point, we'll say jp, and let's print the source of this, system.out.println. I will say in around plus jp dot get source location. And now let's run this. Okay, as you can see, it is printing the source location. Oh, that's weird. It is printing the spring aspect j. That's not right. It's not printing what we wanted. Do we have some other method with jp? jp dot get signature, get name, okay, so you can see it is giving you the method name, which is get review. So that's how you can get the thing. Get class. Even that, I guess even that will work with that aspect. So signature dot get class. Will it give you a class name? No, not get class. Get class is not. So it will get that method name will work. So get name, get declaration type. Yeah, so you got the class name as well. So you can print the class name, and then you can print the method name separately. That's how we can use around. Now let me show you one more magic of around. What I will do here is we can change the review at runtime. Okay, let me just try that here. So what I will do here is I will just change this, and whatever review I want to send, instead of sending the review from which is str, which is review, which is the actual review, let me pass str. Okay, so instead of returning the review of actual review, let's return this str, and it will print something, right? So whenever I call review, it will print something. As you can see, if I run this code, it is printing. Where's that something? I'm not printing something here. Get review something. It returns str. Now that is really weird. Okay, is it because of around it is overlapping that? Okay, yeah. So since we have used around, it is overlapping my stuff. So what I will do here is I will just comment this part for some time, and let's run this code. Okay, as you can see, it is printing answer something. I want to change this review. I want to change this review from something to awesome. Okay, and I don't want to change. I don't want to check my. I don't want to change my business logic. So nowhere I want to change it to awesome. Now you might be thinking, wait, is helpful. Let's say if there's a form, and in that form you have to make sure that whatever you type should be in a capital letters. So whatever you type should be in capital letters. Now this requirement came after some time. You have built the entire system, and then suddenly you came to know. I mean, the server is also deployed. Now you came to know that whatever data you have to take from the user should be in capital letters. Now what you can do is, instead of disturbing the application, you can write a around advice where you can change whatever data you're getting into upper letter or upper characters. But how we can do that? So let me uncomment this part, and I will say this get method here, which is get review. So let's be very specific now. I want to work only with get review. So what I will say get review, which takes two parameters, or which takes only one parameter of type. In fact, I will say dot dot. We don't need that, I guess. Do we need that? No, we don't. Or maybe, okay, let's write it. So I will, just to be on the safe side. So I will say java.lang.string. So we have to mention the type of a variable. The type of the variable which we are working with is string. And I also want to fetch the value which I'm passing. Now, how do I fetch the value? So we have to use ampersand, and you have to say argument. So whatever parameters you pass, you have to take that in an argument, and we'll save that in str. So whatever data you're getting from the get review, we'll be storing that in str. Now this str will be having something. Now how do we change that value in this? Okay, so what we'll do is with JP, let's pass one more parameter. We'll say string str. So whatever data you have in str, it will be coming here automatically. Now once you got that, what you can do is you can change the data. Now how we can do that? We can say, okay, it returns a string. So I will say string s equal to, okay, how do I fetch the data? Okay, let's try. We'll say jp dot, I forgot the method name. Is it proceed? Yeah, in this proceed, you have to pass the data you want to pass. Okay, you have to mention the data. Do we have any other constructor? This one. I want to return a string. So I will pass an array of string, or I can say object array of string. So we'll say new. Okay, because it always asks you for object array. You don't have a choice. And let's pass string data, which is, let's say, awesome. Okay, I know this is a bit weird, but then this is how it works. So in this proceed, you are changing the value. So for that, you have to first of all create an object of string. And I can say this. Okay, it will return a type of string. I will say string. And it looks good. No. Okay, it says it might throw an exception. I will say throws exception. Oh, it says it might throw throwable. Okay, so that's easy. Now, once you got the string object, so whatever we are doing is we are sending a new string now. Instead of sending the data, we are sending a new string. And I will set that data in this. Okay, we have to send a data. Yeah. And then we have to say return s. I guess this code should work. While executing should be of type string, is it? Okay, no problem. Let's try. I'm just doing some experiment here. I've never tried that before. I've tried with some other examples. Yeah, can you see that we got awesome? So what is happening here is, whatever data you're getting this str, so whatever data you're getting in this str, doesn't matter what that data is, I'm passing my own data, which is awesome, right? So we just have to make sure that normally we can pass an object, we can pass a string object. In fact, instead of using all those things, we could have directly gone for awesome. Is it? Let's try. Yeah, can you see that it is printing awesome? So we can directly go with that. But then this will not work when you want to create a customized object. Let's say if you want to get an object of an alien, if you want to get an object of a student, if you want to get an object of accounts, in that scenario, we have to use this particular syntax, where all the properties of the object will be part of this array. Maybe ID, maybe name, maybe roll number, maybe address, everything will be part of this array. And what it returns, the object of alien or maybe object of accounts, whatever you want to have, and then you can return that object. But then again, we don't use around much in the project because it increases the complexity of your software. If you want to use, you can use after, we can use before, we can use after. I mean, we have 3 parts in after finally, after returning, after throwing. I know it is a bit difficult to understand. You have to write this for some number of time, then only it will work, okay? It will take some time. Okay. And let's try one more time. In before, we don't have join, don't have proceeding join point, but we do have join point. It's a join point JP. Let's use join point. And let's print JP dot get. Oh, we don't have anything else here. Okay, let's try with get static part, what it prints. Do we have something else here? We have get annotation, get class. Oh, I've used a wrong package or what? Join point. I've used a wrong package. So dot static part dot get ID, get kind, get source location. This looks good. Signature. We have used source location before, right? Let's run this. Yeah, it gives you the path as well. Can you see that? Yeah, it gives you the path as well. So this is what we wanted, right, Chetu? Yeah, so it works. In fact, there are lots of things to work with this. So do some experiment. So we have this class name called a join point. Then we have proceeding join point. So we use proceeding join point only with around. We can use join point with before and after. So join point also works with after. And if you want to know where the error is, you can also use this one here. You can also use this join point in this exception log. So try different combinations here. So let me just go for a recap. So what is the use of AOP? AOP is basically used to achieve cross-cutting concerns. In fact, Spring AOP is not the only way. We can also use normal AOP, right? So we can also go with normal AOP, but then Spring AOP says that it will make your work very easy because we have Spring framework there. And in AOP, the most important part is aspect, because aspect, I mean, you have to think about aspects. If you want to achieve something, what are the side things we require, or what are the extra things we require? So we can write all those extra things in your aspect. So those are your cross-cutting concerns. In this cross-cutting concerns, we have point cut. This thing, which is in double quotes, this is called point cut. This is called as join point, and this is called as advice. So we have before, we have after, in after we have after finally, after throwing, after returning, and we also have around. Okay, so that's your AOP, everyone. Okay, we did lots of experiment. Okay, that's great. So Aditya, Shobi, Chetu, Prithvi, any questions? Okay. Now let me tell you what the problem is. The problem is you have learned so many things now. The only problem which you will face now is to implementing it. And trust me, okay, let me give you my experience. When I learned all these things, luckily I have not learned everything in one go. Okay, I have first learned Spring Core. After 2 months, I have learned Spring MVC. After 1 year, I learned about Spring AOP. So I was having lots of time in between to implement all those things. Still, I was facing some issues with while implementing it. Okay, so the experiment which I did now is because I have done some, I have used this in my project, so I know what things we can change. But if you have not done any project in any of this, it will be very difficult for you to implement. Now, I don't know how many of you are actually following my live sessions on project. It will give you some glimpse on how to implement Spring MVC, how to implement Spring AOP, because learning is very easy. When I do things, it might say, I mean, you might say they are easy, but then the moment you try to do that, you will find it difficult. So do practice as well, and make some small application. Okay, now, so what we have seen in Spring? So we have talked about Spring Core, we have talked about Spring MVC, we have talked about Spring REST, Spring Data, Spring Hibernate, and Spring AOP. Now, do practice all those things. Now, if you think we have missed some of the topics, what you can do is take this two days. We'll not be having session on Wednesday now. Take this 2 days. See whatever. First of all, watch all the videos and let me know what are things we have not covered. Or maybe if you feel that this is something which you want to repeat, or this is something which you want to have extra topic, send me a mail. I will either go with live on those videos, or I will make I may go live with those topics, or I may make videos on that for you to watch. So once you complete everything, do send me your questions, whatever doubts you have, and let's have a doubt solving session maybe this Friday or coming Monday. So let me know when you are comfortable with the questions, because I just want to give you some time for the questions. So send me the questions beforehand so that I will be prepared for the questions. I don't want to say, okay, let me just try it out. I want to be very quick with the answers. So what you can do is practice these things. Send me your questions on my mail, or send me the topics which you want me to repeat, or maybe which you want which we have not covered, something like that. So send me a mail. I will either go with live, or I will make a video on that. Okay. So any questions, anyone? In fact, it's been a long time, right? It's been maybe 2.5 months or 3 months we are together in this batch. Great. Long journey, huh? And it's been 6 months, Aditya. We are doing core Java and advanced Java. Great. May not be 6 months, maybe 5 months. Great then. Long journey. So yeah, so we'll be having a doubt solving session, but please send me the questions beforehand so that I will be prepared with the questions. This time I don't want to get killed in the live session, so send me the questions beforehand. So that's it, guys. Do practice this. I will send you the projects. I will send you one more project scenario to work on. And that's it. Oh, so we want to download the videos, right? Oh, I forgot about that. Okay, let me just try it from my side. I will upload. I will give you the Dropbox link or a Google Drive link. I forgot about that. In case if I don't do it by tomorrow, just send me a mail for a reminder. I have this problem. I don't know why I always forget about things. So let me know about your doubts. Let me know about the topics. I will let you know when we can have a doubt solving session. So bye bye everyone. Had a great time with you people. Aditya, you want to say something? I can't hear you if you're saying something. I can see you are unmute. Oh, good night. Okay. Okay then. Okay, that's it everyone.